مساء الخير واهلا بكم الى حلقه جديده من واشنطن اونلاين. معي انا هدي العويس على نورث بريس. وتقرير لمنظمه امريكيه يتحدث عن امكانيه قيام الرئيس اردوغان بخطوات متهوره قبيل الانتخابات لدعم حظوظه فيها. هذا ما نبحثه في حلقه اليوم من واشنطن اونلاين. ومن العاصمه واشنطن ينضم الينا الدكتور ديفيد فيليبس الاستاذ في جامعه كولومبيا الامريكيه. ابقوا معنا لمتابعه الحلقه. أهلا وسهلا بك سيد ديفيد. توقع تقرير منظمة Peace Building and Human Rights الأخير أن الرئيس أردوغان سيقوم بخطوات متهورة فيها الكثير من التصعيد، لأن هذا هو السبيل الوحيد لأردوغان ليفوز في الانتخابات المقبلة. ماذا نتوقع من سياسات خارجية من تركيا؟
Richard Holbrooke, with whom I had the honor of working, would say about Slobodan Milosevic that he tries to solve a problem by making a bigger one. I think we can expect to see the same from Erdogan. I wouldn't be surprised if Turkey intensified cross-border attacks in Syria and Iraqi Kurdistan in order to create a crisis, rile Turkish nationalism, and deter Kurds in Turkey from going to the polls.
أي سياسات خارجية نتوقع من أردوغان لمسايرة مزاج الناخب التركي؟ كيف سيفوز أردوغان بأي سياسات؟
Well, Erdogan can win the election by stealing it, by falsifying the results, claiming victory regardless of the outcome. Right now, public opinion polling shows Erdogan and the AKP trailing by more than 10 percentage points. Do we really think that Erdogan is going to disappear and go gracefully into the night? He's going to do everything he can to hold on to power, partly because being in office guarantees him parliamentary immunity, and any legal proceedings against Erdogan for corruption or for negligence related to the earthquake could send him to jail for a very long time.
نعم سيد ديفيد، حضرتك وخبراء آخرين كتبوا مطولا عن استهزاء الرئيس أردوغان بالقوانين الانتخابية والقوانين الديمقراطية في تركيا. نرى الرئيس جو بايدن اليوم يوجه انتقادات لاذعة لتل أبيب الحليف الوثيق لواشنطن بسبب محاولة نتنياهو الالتفاف على استقلالية القضاء والقانون في إسرائيل. أين هي الانتقادات لتركيا في واشنطن فيما يتعلق بتغيير القوانين والمساس بالديمقراطية؟
So it is often said that the U.S. supports policies, not personalities. And the policy that it wants to support in Turkey is conduct befitting a NATO ally, good governance based on principles of democracy and human rights. These run completely contrary to Erdogan's conduct to date. He's given Russian oligarchs a safe harbor for their yachts and their assets. He's launched cross-border attacks against Kurds in neighboring states. He's threatened Greece in the Eastern Mediterranean over energy development. So the U.S. needs to see Erdogan as he is, not how Washington wants him to be. Erdogan barely qualifies as an ally. In fact, if there was a procedure for kicking a NATO member out of the alliance, we'd implement that procedure. Erdogan is a menace and a threat, not only to the region, but to Turkey itself and to NATO as a viable Western security alliance. Remember, NATO is not just involved with security, it's a coalition of countries with shared values. And right now, Turkey has gone rogue, it's off the reservation, and it represents a clear and present danger to Western interests.
وافقت تركيا مؤخرا على انضمام فنلندا إلى حلف الناتو. ماذا عن السويد؟ لماذا نرى هذه الممانعة من قبل الرئيس أردوغان حول مسألة انضمام السويد لحلف الناتو؟
Well, of course he approved Finland's NATO application. There was no reason to hold it up or to reject it. Likewise, there's nothing in Sweden's track record that would cause Turkey to object or to veto its application. The idea that Sweden is harboring PKK members is simply not true. Sweden is a democratic country where human rights are paramount. It's been hospitable to Kurds over many years, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Kurds are antagonists of Erdogan or Turkey. It means that they're seeking a better life in Sweden, and Sweden, through its generosity and largesse, has provided them a new home.
من أولويات الرئيس أردوغان قبل الانتخابات إنقاذ الاقتصاد التركي، كيف سيحدث ذلك؟ هل من تحالفات تركية، هل من حلفاء ممكن أن يساعدوا الرئيس أردوغان في تنفيذ هذه المهمة أو سياسات نتوقعها قريبا؟
He's pursued a macroeconomic policy of lowering interest rates when they should be raised to control inflation. Right now, the value of the Turkish lira to the US dollar is 19 to 1. Just a few years ago, in 2017, it was 3.5 to 1. Unemployment in Turkey is rampant. So there's a huge economic collapse in Turkey. There's a problem with the balance of payments. Businesses that borrowed money when the lira was pegged at a different value now aren't able to repay those loans, and they're going into bankruptcy. So Turkey has been mismanaged economically by Erdogan, and he doesn't even have the humility to recognize the problem and try to address it. He's sticking with an economic policy that has failed and driven Turkey's economy, which was one of the brightest and optimistic in the G20. He's driven it into the ground.
دكتور ديفيد، أنت تعرف أن الدول العربية تسير بخطى سريعة نحو إعادة علاقتها مع دمشق، وتركيا أيضا سعت لإعادة التطبيع مع نظام الرئيس السوري بشار الأسد، ولكن ربما تواجه تركيا عراقيل وعقبات أكبر لتنفيذ هذا الهدف. هل التقارب العربي السوري يعزل تركيا عن المشهد والملف السياسي السوري؟
So we should remember that Bashar al-Assad is a war criminal. He's committed atrocities against his own people, including attacking the Kurds in North and East Syria. We should not be normalizing relations with Assad. We should be issuing indictments for his arrest. The fact that Turkey might consider normalization is far-fetched. Turkey was one of the leading countries supporting the opposition. The collaboration between Turkey and jihadists in northern Syria has been extensive. So I don't see Turkey making a move anytime soon to normalize with Syria. And if it did, it would be the height of hypocrisy.
شكرا جزيلا لك ضيفي الدكتور ديفيد فيليبس، كنت معنا من واشنطن.
Thank you, Hadia.
وختاما شكرا لكل من تابع واشنطن أونلاين. ألقاكم في حلقة جديدة الأسبوع المقبل، إلى اللقاء.